Okay, let's talk a little bit about chickens. Uh, in particular, a group of chickens up in University of Purdue. This is the Muir chicken experiment. Now, Muir was a biologist up at Purdue, and he wanted to see what effect that working with a team has on egg production. So what he did is he made like 8 groups of 8 chickens and just measured the egg production of each group. Let me show you on the next slide what he did. So this is what he had. He had basically 8 groups. Each one of these blue squares is a group of 8 chickens. And you go out there and you just measure how many eggs they made, each group made. And he did this for a little while. And the chickens were just basically just being chickens. They just hung around together, foraged for food, just being chickens. So he had 8 groups of 8 chickens. So after a while, he noticed that one group of 8 chickens actually made more eggs. This was what he called the super group. So he let that super group make the next generation of chickens. He lumped those into 8 groups of 8 chickens each. He did the same thing, just started measuring egg production on the next generation. In that next generation, he found another super group. Right? They let those 8 chickens make another generation of chickens. So he divided those 64 chickens into 8 groups of 8. He repeated this several times. So after a few generations, what he found out that the best group in the future generations actually produced 40% more eggs. I mean, all the groups increased their egg production, but the best was 40% more than what he originally started off with. So what he did is he said, okay, I've got another idea. I'm going to make another 8 groups of 8 chickens. I'm going to measure the individuals this time instead of the group. Then I'll pick out 8 super chickens and see what they do. Let them make the next generation. So this is what he's got, 8 groups of 8 chickens. He identified the super chickens in each group, and then he let those 8 super chickens make the next generation. And he kept on going for a few generations, just as he did before, but instead of using super group, he used super chickens. Well, after a few generations, there were only 3 chickens that survived. Turned out that super chickens really weren't that super. They just looked super because they were able to peck other chickens and make their egg production go down. So they looked better than the other ones. So this is the result of super chickens, who really aren't super. They're just good at stressing out the other chickens to make them look better. So let's think about this for a second. Does anybody know who this is? This is the Dream Team from 2004. The 12 best players the NBA had to offer. 12 superstars. I remember watching them play, and the way it worked is one of the superstars would get a ball, so he would take it and he'd drive to the hoop against the opposing team, and the other teams would collapse all their team on that one guy. Meanwhile, the other superstars on the court just stood there and watched. There was absolutely no teamwork, just a superstar trying to make it happen by himself. So what was the result? We had a 5-3 record. Lost to Argentina, Puerto Rico, and Lithuania. Right. Only 2 other games Americans had ever lost. Basketball was our game, but we lost because of the way we played. So again, we had 12 superstars working together as 12 individual superstars, not as a super group, not as a super team. That same year, this is the team that won the NBA championship. Not many superstars on there. I don't think any of them were on the Dream Team. So how'd they do? They finished the season 54-28. Pretty good record in the NBA. In the finals, they defeated the Lakers. It included a bunch of super chickens or superstars. They had Shaq, Kobe, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, the mailman, and they beat them, right? Larry Brown was also the Dream Team coach, but he didn't do so well with the Dream Team, the individuals. He did good with the super group. Go to the discussion and put down your thoughts. It'd be kind of interesting. Talk about your experiences. Talk about any super chickens you had to work with and any super groups that you've been in. But let's talk a little bit about this.